welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to The Slow, Painful, Greed Death of Angry Birds by SUNNYV2. So, yes, you guys, this is going to be a very interesting video, because Angry Birds, man, Angry Birds was a very, 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 very popular game back in the day. It was all over. People were playing it on their smartphones, and then on the PC as well, on the iPads. It was everywhere, man. The Angry Birds games. Sorry, I'm moving stuff around right now. I probably should have done that first before starting the video, but I'm always disorganized. My goodness, why is everything such a mess? Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so yes, as I was saying, Angry Birds, one of the most popular games, you guys. Very, very popular. People used to play it on their phones all the time. I used to be one of them. There was a lot of versions of the game. Angry Birds, Angry Birds 2, Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Stella, whatever that one was called. The Candy Crush, the Go-Kart one. And then there was Bad Piggies too. Yeah, there was a lot of versions of Angry Birds, man. Angry Birds was a very, very fun game, and it was part of my childhood, man, growing up. I loved it. I used to ask my mom on her phone to play it all the time, man. It was that addictive. That's one of the reasons why I wanted a phone, just to play Angry Birds and like all the classic games like Subway Surfer, Jetpack Joyride, Temple Run. All of those games that used to be popular back in the day. But as you guys know, Angry Birds hasn't really been seen as much. The only time it became relevant was when the movie came out, the Angry Birds movie. That kind of brought it back to life, but besides that, I mean, it's been dead for a while. So yeah, let's get into this video. Let's see what SUNNYV2 has to say, and yeah, sorry for the very long intro. My intros aren't really that long, but a bunch of stuff everywhere, so yeah.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games, toys, and movies, generating hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
But by 2019, they were firing masses of staff, and since then things have only gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the initial idea. Angry Birds wasn't an original concept.
Really?
In April 2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to fire a trebuchet into wooden structure hiding medieval people.
Oh,
well,
what?
8 months later, in December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app
That's
named
crazy.
Angry
I didn't know
Birds,
that.
which, while clearly being a rip-off, was better in every way. It had cooler, cleaner animated graphics and different stages.
That's kinda
each with
crazy.
different levels. You got points for every enemy killed and points for every bird you didn't use, giving players the chance to compete for high scores. Throw in 5 different birds with 5 different abilities, as well as a cool, catchy soundtrack.
Where's
And
Terrence?
it's easy to see that Angry Birds was better.
And the
They
boomerang
developed
bird,
51
and the orange
games
bird.
prior to Angry Birds,
no, the orange bird
none of
wasn't
which
in that
saw
game, was
even
he?
the smallest bit of success. Therefore, when Angry Birds took only 2 months to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries, they understandably took the chance to milk it. They'd make loads of different varieties like Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars, helping it become the #1 paid app in Apple's App Store with 6 to 7 million paid downloads.
Bro, and the other thing that sucks too is that they got rid of the other versions of Angry Birds. I think the only Angry Birds you can find are like the new ones, but like from like the movie edition. Like they don't have the classics no more. They don't got the seasons, I'm pretty sure. They don't have the Star Wars. I know Star Wars they don't have space, bro. And for the first one, you have to pay 99 cents to play the first game again, and that's like, wow. Like it's so sad, bro. Like they forced you to basically play the newer games by taking all those games away, which I want to see if he talks about that. I'm pretty sure that's what they do, man. That's pretty scummy, bro. On their part too, bro. Like they took away all like the fun games that used to be on the phones that everybody enjoyed, and just just like, nope, you're gonna be forced to play the new games which nobody plays. So I don't know what the point was. You should just kept the old ones up, so that way people keep playing your game. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was better how it was back then, but I don't know.
By the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made $10 million US, but players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks. And we're really trying to build Angry Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only 4 months before that announced 60,000 Angry Birds soft toys have been sold, as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. Within Angry Birds itself, that implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. With celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it, Angry Birds made $100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224 employees by the end of 2011. 5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads. They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds falling to 59th in the App Store, forcing the franchise to try a new format. They'd release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good. It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game, and perfection at its finest. Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews, reading, "The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played.
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was, these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros.
Bro, I've never seen the plushies ever again, bro. They are so rare to find, bro. Like, you don't find them anymore. Like, back in 2010 or 11, you would see them everywhere, like, all in stores. You'd see them everywhere, man. But now, I don't remember seeing any Angry Birds plushies anywhere. Like, they are very, very rare. And there's a lot of people that have been selling them on eBay for a lot of money because of how rare they are. Like, the whole collection, some dude was selling it for, like, almost $1,000, dude. And I was like, wow. Like, those plushies are rare, bro. If you guys have them plushies and you guys need some money, there you go.
As a result, media outlets reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 14% of the company's workforce. They try to fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was pretty unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking, out of all the Angry Birds games, which one do you think is the worst?
That one.
Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many called it a downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled to the brim with microtransactions, clearly annoying the fan base, who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps sucking money out of you. If you play well, the game becomes harder and harder until it's impossible, and then you either have to replay each level 10 times or buy gems. The game is just trying to throw you off balance and get under your skin so that you pay more." The official IGN review said the game took significant steps backward for the massively popular series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense monetization, Angry Birds 2 became their highest earning game. Surprisingly, however, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback. Turns out they'd spent the previous 3 years privately developing the Angry Birds movie. At a cost of $73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story,
it didn't do bad
Birds
actually.
movie
It did good.
surprisingly
The movie.
well.
Yep.
It made over $350 million from its $70 million budget and put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight. People began replaying their previously released games, while Angry Birds theme parks popped up in different countries. Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016.
I believe it.
However, the gaming releases that Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to. Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds action.
Never played
Angry Birds
it.
action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most fans agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie. Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking about the worst Angry Birds game, one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds
Candy
Mash,
Crush ripoff.
which was described as extremely bland. However, thankfully for Rovio, their older titles were still extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie. However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way.
Ooh. I have to agree with that, honestly, bro, because I don't even remember what happened in the second one. I think Angry Birds 2, the movie, wasn't it wasn't that great, bro. Because I can't even recall what happened. I don't even know what it was about. I only remember the first movie, because the first movie was good, bro. I loved it. The second one, though, can't say the same.
Whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added, a distressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds. Still, the movie made a profit of $82 million, as the company was making some weird changes. Despite their older games being low maintenance, Rovio decided to completely stop updating them. Then, without explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry Birds, were deleted from the App Store. When
I
people
just said
began
that.
to talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, "Remember when Rovio actually cared?" whilst hashtag #BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter. Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only did it as maintaining the highest quality of updates and live operations isn't possible with our older games.
I don't know about that, bro. That's like, okay, but still, bro, it's like, why not still have the old game? Because people will still go back to it. It's not like, the only reason why it would make sense to do this is if nobody's playing it at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's just completely dead. But with the way the old Angry Birds was being as popular as it was and people still going back to it, why would you even consider taking it out? Like, it makes, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the same can go with the space and the Star Wars, man. I enjoyed those ones, but for some reason, they took them all out and I can't find them anywhere. But it's been a while since I've looked, but yeah, on my app store, there's like nothing on there. So yeah, I don't know. It's just very, very sad seeing the Angry Birds franchise just... But then again, bro, that's kind of what happens when you milk a game too much, bro, because usually you're supposed to use these games to like make your company into like a household name. I mean, Rovio is already a household name because of Angry Birds, but you could have used all that money you were making to, you know, make other different types of games, like, you know, what the other game companies do. That's why they're popular, because these game companies, they make other different games. They don't just make one game that, well, I mean, I don't know, some games aren't as great as they used to be. Some companies do that, where they just rely on one game, but yeah, I don't know. It's very, very... It's hard, dude. It's really, really hard to run a company, bro. Like, it really is. Because, like, you gotta know, like, what to do, bro. And, like, I don't know, for this, dude, you probably... I don't know, dude. It's very, very hard because for this you could have, made different games, but again, people were into Rovio because of Angry Birds, which is why they made all these other games which weren't that successful because people were saying, oh, it's the same game over and over again. It's just boring. You just launch. And the other game I remembered was Angry Birds Rio 2. But yeah, bro, like, I don't know. It's very, very, very interesting because it's like, no matter what you do, it's very, very hard to please, like, or keep the gamers entertained with your game for a while because Angry Birds, I think its run was officially, like what they said, 2016 was like 2016, 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, all those years was like when Angry Birds was like at its peak. But now it's like new games are always coming out. People always going to find new different games and all that. So it's very hard to stay relevant for a long time. So yeah, but I don't know.
Response to the backlash that announced they plan on redeveloping Angry Birds Classic, which was re-released on the App Store in 2022, but at a price of $1.99 with no in-game purchases. They'd changed Classic's name to Red's First Flight, making it harder to find in the App Store, thus prompting players to buy the newer, more profitable games. This successfully fooled some people who struggled to find it on the App Store. However, others knew exactly what Angry Birds was doing. They got rid of the old ones so that you would have no other choice than to play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. They despised the games that made the company and so lost its spirit. Rovio basically confirmed this.
I'm pretty sure Sega owns Angry Birds now, if I remember
due
correctly.
to the game's impact on our wider games portfolio. They further requested that fans continue to bring that passion to our live Angry Birds slingshot games, such as Angry Birds 2. However, players weren't too happy. We hope those fans can continue to bring that passion to our other games which have been designed to be more psychologically manipulative and stuffed with more microtransactions. Fixed it for you. The drama was so severe, it seemingly halted any future games, as Angry Birds Classic is still the most recent title, released way back in 2022. In 2023, Rovio was sold to Sega, although this has done little to fix their reputation. One recent tweet expressed, "I very much still love Angry Birds. That said, the current state of it is dog shit. My hope for the franchise is at an all-time low right now. I'll just continue to enjoy what I love about it, but it's sad to see what it's become. Despite everything, Angry Birds isn't finished, as they just announced they're making a third movie, although with the rest of the franchise in decline, its performance might be interesting."
So yeah, there you go, the sad tragedy of Angry Birds. So yeah, man, like I said before, I don't know why they took out the old games. It doesn't make any sense, dude. I mean, I would keep them on there just, because people love them and because people would come back to it. So I don't know. It made no sense why they took out the old game. I mean, yeah, you can promote like your new games, but it's like those old games are the reason why you have those new games in the first place. Those are like what made the games popular and everything. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think Angry Birds was just destined to end like this just because it's kind of like it's one of those games that it's like a one-hit wonder, I guess. Kind of like the same thing with Flappy Bird, because Flappy Bird was like almost the same as Angry Birds in a way, because everybody was playing Flappy Bird too, and then guess what happened to Flappy Bird? It's gone. Nobody's been playing Flappy Bird. So it's I guess it's kind of those types of games, bro. It's not like Call of Duty or Fortnite where you can just keep making it interesting. With like the collabs or everything. I mean, you possibly could with Angry Birds, but I don't know how you would. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Angry Birds is a household name, but I don't think as big as, Call of Duty and Fortnite and, Overwatch and all those games, bro. Like, those are some of the games that are, like, household names, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I think Angry Birds was just always going to be destined to end like this no matter what they do. Rovio could have made a different game, but, everybody only knew Rovio for Angry Birds. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very, very tragic. Maybe they could have made a Battle Royale game of Angry Birds with their real-life characters. It's just a Battle Royale. That'd be interesting. Go ahead, Angry Birds. Go ahead, Sega. Make a Battle Royale. Join the Fortnite, Overwatch, and Marvel Rivals train. Jump on that train. You can still revive your franchise. But yeah, I'll just leave it there. So yes, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys ended up enjoying the video, go show some support to SUNNYV2, the original, down below. And yes, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye. Boop.